Oh, Casp! Oh, it's the exciting bit. Oh my gosh, I better have my brakes on, Casp. Okay. Whoa! Hello everybody and welcome to a helmet cam ride with me snow edition. And you might be thinking, Esme, wait a minute here, you're at the stables, you're giving all the horses cuddles, but I don't see any snow on the ground. And you know what? When I started filming this vlog, I didn't think there was going to be any snow either, but when I tell you, when we arrived at our destination at the forest, the whole place was covered in snow. So anyway, first things first, after giving the horses, obviously, cuddles and attention, because they are such time wasters, the amount of my life I've spent giving these horses cuddles, but you know what? That is not time wasted in my opinion, because cuddles with horses, that's the best thing. Anyway, once all of my tack, so my saddle, my bridle, is all in the horse box, ready to go, also make sure that I've got things for myself, so my helmet, my boots, gloves as well. Sure thing, I definitely needed some gloves on this day because this was actually filmed first thing in the morning, that's why it still looks a little bit dark. I was like, you know what, today I'm going to wake up early, I'm going to take Casper, this is Casper here, for a ride on the forest. So that's why I put the light on, because yeah, it was still pretty dark outside. The horses were still kind of waking up. I think they did some yawning as well. They were like, girl, this is too early for me. I'm not used to being around. Also, Casper's tail, oh my goodness, look at that. It was like a snowstorm itself. It's absolutely covered in shavings from head to toe. Casper obviously had a very good night's sleep last night. He was sleeping in his king-size bed. I also give his mane a little brush as well. I'm one of those people that I love it when my horse's mane all goes to one side. It looks so satisfying. Then I also give Casper a groom. This is a very soft brush. He was just being a little bit dramatic. Casper doesn't really like having his face touched that much. It's not his favourite thing. He used to be quite head shy when we first got him, but this is nice and soft, and of course Casper's face often ends up being the thing that's the most dirty. So once I've given him a good old groom, of course had to take some videos and pics for my socials, because yes, I am that horse mum that has their full camera roll just filled with pictures of their horses. But you know what? That's just life. Anyway, then I go and grab his travel boots that I always kind of think as like a horse seat belt, because I guess you kind of like, you know, you tie them up when they're in the back of the horse box or the back of the van, but these are kind of like a horse seat belt because they protect their legs, make sure they're all nice and wrapped up and protected. And then it was time to load Casper into the horse box. Now at this stage at my house, it was like kind of spitting, kind of raining a little bit. I was going to put his cooler on, which is like a type of horse rug, but I decided in the end to put his turnout rug on because that one is waterproof, and I thought if we get to the forest and it's raining, that's not going to be very good. And then when we start driving along, I was like, what is happening here? Because there was snow absolutely everywhere, all over the car park. As you can tell, we were bright and early. This is my reaction to, oh my goodness, what do you mean there's snow here? And then if you thought that was a big reaction, look at Casper. He was flabbergasted. His gasps were flabbered. He was so confused. He was like, girl, this was only like a, you know, short trip in the horse box. Why have you transported me to a winter wonderland? He was very confused. He was looking everywhere like, what is all of this snow everywhere? I mean, he has seen snow before. He's 19. Like, he's getting on, but he was still confused. He then gave me some cuddles, which is very cute. And you'll see there's a bit of a theme to this video, that there's a lot of taking on and putting off boots. So here I'm taking off Casper's travel boots. Also, his little hoof prints in the snow are so cute. And also, I just want to apologise for the state of the horse box at the moment, because yes, it is dirty, it is filthy. Do you know what is also going to be dirty and filthy in a second? This boy here, who was very nosy when I was putting on his different boots. These are brushing boots because when they're riding along, they sometimes can brush their legs together, and that just, you know, protects his legs, because you best believe later on we were going to be going super speed, we were going to be going fast. Not to start with, because again, this is actually my first ever time riding on snow. You best believe when I saw the snow when we arrived, I was so excited. Also, Casper's the sort of horse, when you try to do his girth up on his saddle, he purposely puffs his stomach out. He thinks that he's a comedian when actually he is just a little bit annoying. Anyway, then it's time, sorry Casper, that was really mean. Then it's time to put my boots on myself, different boots. Also the inside of the horse box, again, we listen and we don't judge. Do not judge the state at the back of the horse box. It had some spare haylage in and I just haven't cleaned it out yet. And you know what? Being a horse girl in the winter, there's a lot of horsey jobs to do, and that is just not at the top of my to-do list, so I apologise. Then once Casper's bridle's on, it's then time to go on our ride, and oh my goodness, look how pretty this is. Also, I just want to say, I know that there's going to be people commenting on this from the States, from Canada, from countries that actually get proper snow, from, you know, Norway, Sweden, that lot. Here in the UK, we don't get that much snow, so I have actually sped these clips up. Don't worry, Casper isn't just like a magical speed walker, because I thought I would show you, he does get quite dramatic when it comes to the puddles. Even, I mean, to be fair, it's icy water. I wouldn't want to walk through the icy water either, but Casper has very long, hairy legs. My legs aren't that hairy, believe it or not, so they don't stay as warm as Casper's. And also, Casper's breed, he is a Connemara pony. Like, he is designed to be in the winter, in Ireland, on mountains. Oh yeah, this is where he had a little poo, so I thought I'd include that because I thought it was quite funny. Anyway, once he had done his business, after that, this boy was going 10 times faster. I mean, it doesn't look like it because this is actually normal speed. And then when I felt like, you know what, we're warmed up enough, the ground, it feels solid enough, because believe it or not, the ground was actually very good on this day. I mean, that's because there isn't much snow here. I know this is an absolute pathetic amount of snow. It is a dusting of snow. But anyway, back to Casper and his hairy legs, sorry. The reason why I included that sped up clip, because you can see that, yes, he quite likes to go around the puddles. He doesn't like to get his hooves wet. Here, so proud of him, because he just went straight over. He just hopped over. And then also, one question that I get a lot when I film my kind of ride with me videos on the forest, like here, is how do you not get lost? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do the same route quite often. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you might even be able to recognise the route, but also I have the worst sense of direction. But do you know who has a really good sense of direction? Casper. He knows exactly where that horse box is, especially because when we're on our way home, he is always so much speedier. I don't know what it is. Does anybody else's horses, when they first set off on a ride, they're just so slow and chilled and just easy breezy. And as soon as they know they're going home, especially if it's a ride that you do quite often, there's often a corner or a moment or an area where they're like, okay, we're at the halfway point now, we're on our way home, let's go. Also, a lot of the sort of cantering clips that I do here, you'll probably be able to see a lot of them are uphill, just because, again, I was very cautious. I felt like I was a very overprotective mum with Casper, being like, okay, we can't go fast down the hill because I don't want you to slip over, I don't want you to hurt yourself. But to be fair, Casper, he is a sturdy boy. He is a Connemara pony, he is small, he is stocky. He is designed for this. This is what he was made for, in the words of Billie Eilish, to answer her question. This was what he was made for. Anyway, then it was time to go up another hill and have another little canter. And he was being very chilled about it. It was just such a lovely canter. Also, Casper, I'm so lucky, it's the type of horse where I could go a week without riding him. The weather could be awful, I could not ride him for a week, and I could take him out to somewhere like this. And he just behaves himself. He is such a good boy. He, maybe he's finally chilled down. Now he's 19 years old. He's like, you know what? It's okay. I don't need to, go a million miles per hour at all times. And then, of course, had to take some pictures of him. And he knows it. He works it for the camera. He was really going for it. But anyway, this is probably one of my favourite areas. It's so pretty. You can see the metal fencing there if you watched my summer version of this or my autumn version of this. There were loads of cows here last time. There were no cows this time. And then here is me speeding up this walk because this area here was a little bit icy. It was a little bit, rocky. There's also a little stream going through if you want to know why the stream is orange. Apparently there is a lot of iron in the soil around here, so there we go. But here the ground got a little bit better. We were going uphill again, so we went a little bit speedier, and then here, oh my goodness, it was like riding a roller coaster. This is Casper's turning around halfway point, because up this hill I let him go for it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, okay, you can go for it, go as fast as you want. He absolutely rockets up this hill, is properly going for it, loving life. And then here I'm like, okay, slow down, wait a second, because number one, I knew there was going to be a big puddle there, and Casper does not like puddles. And number two, I knew that bit can be a little bit uneven, because again, I have done this ride many a times before, so has Casper, but he absolutely loves it. And then when we get to the top of the hill, always make sure that we slow down, have a little look around, make sure there's no, I was going to say pedestrians, I mean technically we're all pedestrians because there are no cars here, we are literally on the forest, but to make sure there's no dog walkers or people walking about, because I do not want to mow them down, you know, I don't want to be one of those horse riders that people are always like, oh, there's always these horse riders riding around the forest and they're going too fast, not looking where they're going. I like to respect the rest of the community using the forest, but today, because we were there so early and because it was so cold, there was only like a handful of dog walkers that we saw. So there we go, this is your sign to wake up early and go and take your horse on a hack or a trail ride somewhere beautiful and get there before everybody else. Oh, Casp! We're almost home! The wild horses should go through the trees. Good lad. So, you would have just heard Casper saying hello to the wild horses. I'm going to say wild in quotation marks because technically they are kind of fenced into the forest so they don't get out onto the roads or anything like that. But Casper, honestly, either he just remembers from last time or his hearing is incredible, probably the latter. He was like, yes, let's go, hello friends. So I don't know what it is, but Casper isn't my most vocal horse. He doesn't really neigh very often. Normally Joey, he is the big drama queen. So it was quite cute to actually hear him saying hello. So yeah, that was my first ever time riding in the snow. I know the snow probably to a lot of people does not count as snow, but to me it does. I'm British, especially in the south of England, we don't get that much snow, so to me this is snow. I'm going to say I've lived my childhood dream of galloping along, I mean it was more of a canter, but cantering along on my horse or my pony in the snow. There we go, tick that off the bucket list. To be fair, I've always been like, it has snowed a few times in the UK where I've had horses and I've been like, ooh, that could be fun, like, you know, going for a ride in the snow, and then I've been like, no, too scary. I don't want them to fall over, slip over, hurt themselves. But because the ground was so good, at first, when I first arrived and saw the snow, I was like, this might be a ride where we just walk. Maybe a little bit of trot, but the ground was actually very, very good. I was very surprised. Then it was time to take Casper's boots off, where you can actually see like a mark where the boots were because his legs were so muddy, so disgusting. So yeah, now you're like, oh yeah, I can see why Esme hasn't washed her travel boots in the washing machine, because they are literally just going to get filthy again. So that is a job for the spring once all the mud has dried up. But anyway, then it was time to get the middle partition to the side because it was time to go home once Casper had his rug on, so he was all wrapped up again. It was time to lead him into the horse box, and oh my goodness, Casper, I am so glad and so lucky that he is such a good traveller. He is the sort of horse where he starts leaning before the roundabouts, like he just knows. I don't know what it is. It's like I think if horses could surf, I think Casper would be a surfer because honestly, in the horse box, he has such good balance. Anyway, Casper also likes to do this thing where he just likes to, before he, jumps out of the horse box, Joey, my other horse, he's the sort of horse where he will just jump off. He would jump off a springboard. Maybe Joey would have been a diver, Casper would have been a surfer. But Casper, he just likes to wait a little second. He's like, okay, where am I? What's happening? Okay, I'll come off now. Then it's time to put him back in his stable. Don't worry, it's not for long. I'm definitely one of those people that like to give their horses as much turnout as possible, but it was just easier to pop him in there for a second while I was cleaning my tack and also while I was riding Joey. So yeah, my tack, oh my goodness, my biggest pet peeve cringe is having mud or rain all over your saddle. So I was like, okay, this boy needs a clean, he needs a wipe, especially, oh, my stirrups, because Casper's quite small. Yes, oh my gosh, my girth as well, there was no saving that just had to be hose pipe down because it was awful. Anyway, after a quick clean, it was then time to grab Joey. Of course, had to give him a treat because I'm the treat lady, and then I realised, oh no, his ear was stuck. Joey honestly has the biggest ears. You can also see little Duke giving us the side eye as we walk by. He's very nosy. Joey, I honestly think in his previous life was a Labrador because he just loves to smell everything. Like, he is like a dog. Anyway, then it was time to put on the solarium to warm his back up, take off his rug, and then give him a groom. Also, Joey's mane really confuses me because at one side it's very dark, and the other side it's almost white. He has kind of like an ombre mane. I know it's on the wrong side. Some people that really upsets them that it's on the quote-unquote wrong side. but don't worry, if I ever do competitions with him or want to do competitions with him, I will braid it or plait it on the correct side, but that's just the way it likes to be. And you know what? If that's the way it wants to be, then that's fine. That's just how Joey likes it, okay? Anyway, can we just also appreciate how beautiful Joey's dapples are looking at the moment? He's also going a little bit flea bitten. Joey's favourite thing is actually having his face brushed, which is the opposite to Casper. But anyway, yeah, he's getting little flea bitten bits, which actually, I don't know what it is, but the word flea bitten, it sounds really mean, like he's been literally bitten by fleas. I think we should rename them to Pretty Little Horsey Freckles, because that's what they look more like. Anyway, then it was time to put on Joey's boots. Again, putting on more boots. These boots are his extra fluffy ones, although they do actually have really good ventilation, so you don't have to worry about your horse's legs overheating. As always, pretty much all of my horse's tack and stuff is from Lemure Hill, one of my sponsors, and then their like saddle, bridle, that kind of thing is from Voltaire Design. And then my boots got so muddy on the forest that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to give them a quick wipe over, because I didn't want to get my dressage saddle or Joey's saddle all disgusting and muddy. So that was a quick clean, and then it was time to pop his bridle on. This time I actually managed to get his long ears through so they weren't, poor boy, all bent back. Anyway, then it was time to make sure that everything was done up properly. And then I've actually been doing this new thing with Joey that I'm going to call, or that I've been calling, the sugar tax, that if you listen to my podcast you will have heard of. Also, you can't really see it on camera, but near that big kind of pointy tree there was a fox, and Joey was absolutely mesmerised by it. Even when I was like showing him the sugar, he was like, no, I'm more interested in the fox. Like, look, I was like, come on, let's do it. And then he was like, no, I want to watch the fox. I want to see what's happening. Anyway, then he was like, okay, actually, somebody said food. Let's go for it. So the reason why I use sugar cubes is because he has a bit in. So obviously his saliva kind of is easier to chew. The sugar cube kind of dissolves in his mouth, but also I'm doing this because it gives him a good old stretch before you ride. Because when you think about it, if you're going to go for a run, if you're going to do some exercise as a human, obviously not as a horse, you're going to do your stretches. So it's good to do your stretches with your horses as well. That's a little trick that my physio has taught me to do. And then also another little trick that I've been told to do, that, again, all horses are different, so I'm not saying you have to do this with your horse. I'm just saying this is what I like to do with Joey to warm him up. So I like to put some random poles down. Today we have the square. This is also all in walk, but I've sped it up again so it's not painfully boring for you all. So for at least 5 minutes, just have a little walk around on a loose rein and get him to walk over to some poles, because when he walks over to the poles, he really lifts his legs up and that helps him warm up. So anyway, especially as I just got him out of the stable, it was really important to me that we did a lot of walk, we did a lot of warming up. Also, you can see our neighbour's cat in the background there. You can spot them walking around. Now, Joey is the sort of horse where he doesn't really feel properly warmed up until I canter him. So I like to do a little canter down the long side and then go back down to walk again. Also, let him have a look at Toby, our donkey, because if not, Joey would be like, oh my goodness, who is that? What is that over there? Even though he's seen Toby a million times before. So I have a little canter and then I go back down to walk again. And I tell you what, this has really improved his walk to canter transitions. Anyway, also you'll be able to spot Toby going and saying hello to my grandma, who is also the food lady. And then once Joey feels a little bit better, I give him a slightly longer canter, and then I do a longer and a longer one. Also, again, his walk to canter transitions have really improved in the last couple of weeks, so very, very proud of him. And then once he's had a big canter, I do a bit more trot work. Also, before I do any cantering, I do a whole loop of trot in the arena just to get his legs stretched a little bit more, to make him think a little bit more forward. But I don't like to work him in trot in an outline until he's had his canter, until he's had that big leg stretch. And I just find for him, he loosens up a lot more, and that's what my physio's told me to do with him. So again, all horses are different. Warm your horse up how you like, but this is what I've been doing with Joey, and it's been working really well for us. So as you can see here, he starts to loosen up a little bit more. I try to get him to do as big of a canter as possible once he's kind of feeling a little bit more warmed up. And then here I do a little lap of big trot that I like to call, and you can see he's feeling a lot more supple, he's a lot more round, we've got a nice rhythm. And then once we've done our walk, trot, canter all warmed up, to get our breaths back, what are we doing? We're doing the square, and we're doing some more kind of walking on a loose rein. And that's what I think is actually a really good thing to do in the winter, because a lot of the time when you want to get your breath back, A lot of people just stand, they just halt, and it's good to keep your horse moving, especially when it's cold outside. And then we did some more canter, but this time we were cantering over the poles, and Joey was so good, I was so proud of him. There were a few times where we did mess it up, but you know what? That's just life. You're gonna not do everything perfect all the time. So here, oh my goodness, that water trot transition, he would not have done it that well a few weeks ago. I tell you what, we've been working so hard on that. Once I've done the exercise in canter, I then actually go down to trot and do it, and I find that his trot work is so much better. Obviously, if I was on a young horse that was still building up their muscle, maybe a little bit wobbly, doing it in trot first is probably better than doing it in canter. Oh my goodness, also that run there, absolutely disgusting. Put that in the bin. Second time round, so much better. That was because I just thought, Joey, you know what you're doing. I don't need to have my leg on as much as I did. My leg was off, and what happened? We went sideways. We drifted, but that's okay. I knew what went wrong. The next time, I did it better. Also, my left leg, or my outside leg on this run, oh my goodness, not good. I need to work on that. That is where I'm weakest. So no surprise, we did a little bit of a cha-cha slide there. Anyway, after that, was so proud of Joey. We did some big trot at the end. I like to call it big trot because as much as I want to call it medium trot, we're not quite there. We're working on our dressage, we're working on our flat work. So for the moment, I'm going to call it big trot. Also, Joey loves, his favourite thing in the world after a ride is scratching his face on the fence. But this always terrifies me because I'm like, oh my gosh, don't get your reins stuck in the fence. Don't get yourself caught on the fence. But it brings him so much joy, so I let him do it because I'm there. I'm there to make sure that if anything goes wrong, it's all good. Anyway, then, again, he uses this as a scratching post. I'm like, dude, sometimes I am the scratching post as well. He loves a good scratch, this horse. He loves it. It's his favourite thing. He loves the scratchies. Anyway, then it's time to take off his bridle, put on his head collar, and then take off all of his tack, so his saddle, put it back in the tack room. Then it's time to get some treats because this boy, oh my goodness, I was so proud of him. He was such a good boy. Of course, gave him more scratchies, little nose boops, and then again, more taking boots off, and it doesn't finish there because I got some more boots to put on, and that is Joey's turnout boots, because you will know if you've been following the channel for a while that Joey, oh my goodness, that horse has cost me so much money in vet bills, so much money. Anyway, then it was time to pop him out in the field and grab Casper as well, because obviously Joey can't go out on his own, he's got to have his bestie. And then of course we cannot forget about little Duke, the little man. Also, excuse how muddy his field is, it's just here where the gate is, because obviously there's a lot of traffic. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed seeing me and Casper have so much fun on the forest. I still can't believe I have managed to ride in snow. First time ever, wasn't expecting it, was so much fun, and it was just honestly such a magical ride. It was so beautiful, had the best time. So if you're new or have not done this already, please like and subscribe, it really does mean so much to me. We've also recently hit 1 million subscribers. I feel like I say this every video, but I just want to thank you again because it's still such a pinch me moment. Also, if you have sat through this whole 20-minute video and enjoyed hearing me waffling away, chatting to you, then please check out my podcast, Esme's Country Life. I upload every week. I have so much fun doing it, telling you stories of what's been happening in my life, behind the scenes of the horses. But anyway, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!